Hello student, I am Rohit Rastogi, Assistant Professor of Commerce from Government College Dungaria Jarangi District, Surajpur. Today we will discuss the payback period, which is the second method of traditional technique of capital bursting. And let's see what is payback. If you see the name, payback period means the amount which you have invested means paid. At what time it gets back is payback period. Suppose you are opening a shop and you are investing rupees 50 lakh, and this 50 lakh gets back you to after 5 years. It means continuously you are getting 10 lakh per annum and it's get back to you after 5 years. It means your payback period is 5 years. Let's see. Period within which the entire cost of project is expected to be completely recovered by way of cash inflows. Whatever you have invested, it means entire cost of project, and completely recovered by way of cash inflows. It means whatever you have invested within that time you get back is payback period. Here I have written cash inflow. This is a new word for you. Let's understand what is cash inflows. Here cash inflow means EATBT, which is also called CFAT. What is EABT? Earning after tax before depreciation. Earning after tax before depreciation, which is also called CFAT, cash flow after tax. Let's see how will you calculate the payback period. First, case number 1. In this case, equal cash inflow. It means when your cash flow is equal in all period of projects, then we follow this formula. Okay, let's see what is the formula. Payback period is equal to initial cash outflow upon annual cash inflow. Outflow, inflow. Outflow means what amount you have invested. Inflow means whatever you earn through that project. Okay, cash outflow means this is the amount of your investment, and cash inflow means the amount of earning which you are earning through your projects. Let's see what is cash outflow and cash inflow, how it is calculated. Computation of cash inflow. How will you calculate? Sales less total cost means both fixed and variable, including depreciation. After the deduction of total cost from sales, you will get EBT. EBT means earning before tax, less tax, whatever the percentage. Then you will find EAT, which is earning after tax. Then you will deduct depreciation and you will get earning after tax before depreciation, which is cash inflow. Okay, understand that EATBD is a cash inflow. If EAT is given, it means you have to add depreciation. Okay, remember this. Cash inflow is always EATBD, earning after tax before depreciation. Let's see how we'll calculate cash outflow. Cash outflow means the cost of project, purchase price of fixed assets, and whatever you pay on purchasing of fixed assets like freight, carriage, and installation charge to install particular fixed assets. And if you are getting a subsidy from government to set up that particular project, you will less that amount. And whenever you expend in particular fixed assets or project, you have to incur working capital. Okay, in that case you will add working capital. If you are investing in particular assets and you are required working capital, you will have to add that working capital amount to find out cash outflow. Okay, now we have seen how to calculate cash inflow and how to calculate cash outflow. Let's see what is the accept and reject rule. It means you have find out your payback period. Now how will you accept and reject your project? See, first of all, independent project. In case of independent project, we have discussed that what is independent project. Suppose, let's see once again what is independent project. Suppose you have money and you want to invest. Okay, you have money and you want to invest. You have option of A, B and C. All option you have, and A, B, C all are independent. Either we have open shop, restaurant or shopping mall. Shopping mall means a small shopping mall. It's 50 lakhs amount is so little. So you can see that A, B, C all are different. All are different means all are independent. Either you could choose A, B, C. Okay. Let's see what is accept reject rule for independent project. If your PBP means payback period is greater than or equal to minimum acceptable payback period, then you will accept your project. If your payback period is less than minimum acceptable payback period, you will reject the project. Okay, let's see. Mutual exclusive project. What are the mutual exclusive projects? Suppose you have a land area of this, okay, and you have two options, option A and option B. Okay, you can do farming in this land area or you can set up a plant. It means in case of mutually exclusive project, you can't do both. Either you can do A or B. Okay, in this type of situation, how will you accept or reject a particular project? First of all, we rank the payback period. Okay, first we rank the payback period, then we see the shortest PBP, payback period. I have A and B projects and I will rank them first, and after that I will see that which project has the shortest payback period. The project which has the shortest payback period, that could be selected. Okay, let's see. Third is a complementary project. Complementary project, which is also called contingent project. In this project, you know that it has main project along with complementary project. Main project and complementary project, and I have given you example in first lecture that we are setting a factory in the remote area. In that case, we have to invest in factory as well as on road, building, etc. In that case, I have main and complementary projects. That's why we find out combined payback period. It means payback period of main project and payback period of complementary project. Okay, we will find combined payback period, and the same rule is followed here. If our combined payback period is greater than or equal to minimum acceptable payback period, project accepted, otherwise rejected. Okay, now we have seen what is the accept and reject rule. Now we will see the merits and demerits of payback period. Let's see first merit. Easy to understand. You can see it is so easy. We have to find out cash inflow and outflow, and after that we will find out our payback period. The second merit is it uses cash inflows instead of accounting data. It does not use accounting data. It uses cash inflow. Let's say demerits. What are the demerits? The first demerit is that it ignores the time value of money. It ignores the time value of money, the first. And the second is, in this case, we see the payback period, but cash inflows are earned continuously after payback period, but we ignore in this method. Okay, there are two merits and demerits. Now we will go further and we will see the case 2. In case first we see equal cash inflows, but it is rare. In second case we will see that unequal cash inflows, but that topic we will discuss with discounted payback period, because discounted payback period and simple payback period both are same, but different is one thing. in discounted payback period, we use discounted factor value. In this case, we do not use discounted factor value. Okay, so we will discuss in discounted payback period. Let's see a question. Calculate payback period of project A and B. Initial cash outflow of project A is 4 lakh and project B is 3,50,000, and annual cash inflow after tax project A 1 lakh and project B 1 lakh. Life of project is 5 years and project B 5 years. In both cases, life is 5 years. It means in 5 years, every year cash inflow would be same rupees 1 lakh in case of A and B. Let's see how will we calculate payback period. So see the formula: payback period is equal to initial cash outflow upon annual cash inflow. Project A 4 lakh upon 1 lakh is equal to 4 years. Project B 3,50,000 upon 1 lakh is equal to 3.5 years. Okay, or 3 whole 1 by 2 years. If you multiply 1 by 2 into 12, you will get 3 years, 12 months. Okay, so payback period for project A is 4 years and for B project 3.5 years, or 3 years and 6 months. 3 years and 6 months. This was the question, which was based on the equal cash inflow. Okay, we will discuss the discounted payback period in next lecture. Okay, thank you.